If I can't even communicate in a way that I would prefer to communicate, just because there's a bit of stress or pressure, what other areas of my life am I messing up? The pressure and stress that you put on yourself goes up. Your performance to deliver what you've been taught to deliver goes out the window. The win, it's the person who can remain relaxed when there's every reason not to be, that will get way more out of themselves. Firstly is how to relax in 30 seconds or less. How to reprogram yourself for sales success, and then align yourself with becoming the version. So, in my opinion, setting goals and targets are great. Well, I didn't put the time and energy and actions that were going to help me improve my life because of the belief and my identity. And the results are what you achieve and sustain.
Everyone, give it up for Jason Urbanowitz.
You guys, I like you already. The other one that I can share that you could relate to as well, back when I was in my early 20s, I remember this one moment where my partner and I were going down to the local shopping centre with the intentions of having a nice day out. You can probably see where this is going already. So I'm trying to find a car park and it's fucking busy as, right? So, and I find one and then she turns to me and says something that sounds quite innocent, but not really. She looks at me and she says, "Is that where you want to park the car?" At that stage, I'm gripping the steering wheel that tight. My knuckles are going white because I am trying as hard as I can not to say the next bit. But I say it anyway. I look at her and I say, "Babe, you can tell where I wanted to park the car by where I fucking put it." Now, was that a pleasurable shopping experience at that point? But the reality is I look back at that and I remember thinking later, if I can't even get that part of my life sorted, if I can't even communicate in a way that I would prefer to communicate, just because there's a bit of stress or pressure, what other areas of my life am I messing up? Does that make sense? Because there's stress and pressure. It's a very important thing to learn that I learned. Now, if I said there was a way that you could learn to be relaxed when there's every reason not to be, and less than 30 seconds, would that be a useful tool? Yeah. What other areas of life would that be a benefit to you? Everything. Your kids. Yep. So your kids, driving. Yep. So road rage, massive, right? What other areas would that be important where your behaviour or your performance can decrease based on some stress? When you're tired, what about sales? You feel like you need the sale, so what can happen? The pressure and stress that you put on yourself goes up. Your performance to deliver what you've been taught to deliver goes out the window. Do you see that in sport? Yeah, someone in the practice room looks like a superstar, get them out in the field, and comes down to this one last goal. They kick it, they don't, they lose, they win. It's the person who can remain relaxed when there's every reason not to be, that will get way more out of themselves. So for me today, if there's one thing that I'd want you to take away, is that if you can train yourself on demand to be relaxed when there's every reason not to be, you'll exceed in this role. Sales, but other areas, but you'll exceed in that. Who'd be willing to learn that skill? And if I said that the training itself would take you 18 minutes to learn, and you did it even 3 days a week, and over the next 21 days, the way that you handle stress and pressure will be found to be differently. Instead of being pushed around by your emotions and stress, you'll be able to be relaxed enough to perform no matter if the stress is there or not. This training was taught by my mentor over 30 years ago. It was used at the Institute of Sport in Canberra to train athletes how to be relaxed under pressure. But you can use it for any area of your life. So again, who's willing to learn that? You got no choice because I don't know how to teach anything else. So that's what we're doing. All right, some of the things that why it matters in sales, Chris said it before, is that again, when the pressure's on. So it's going to be very important when that environment's on you can still do what you've been trained to do. Fear, rejection, all these things will trigger different stress responses. So the ability to be able to recognise that, to be relaxed enough, and then to respond appropriately. Who wins? Like I said, people who can stay relaxed under pressure, they're going to get the most out of themselves. And you'll have your peak performance. So my big promise today, here's what I'm striving to achieve. Firstly is how to relax in 30 seconds or less. How to reprogram yourself for sales success. and then align yourself with becoming the version. So in my opinion, setting goals or targets are great, but it should be from the point of view of who you become in the process. So achieving money, achieving material outcomes, all that stuff's great, and go for it. But it's who it's going to require you to become in the process to do that. Do you need to become more resilient, more patient, more persistent? Does that make sense? So that's really the key thing. So a little bit why I got so obsessed with this field about the mind and how do we, self-sabotage. There was a period of my life in my mid-20s where nothing was going right. And I was really starting to doubt, what does my future look like? It was looking pretty bleak. And the way that I dealt with it, how did I deal with it? By eating. And to get to 154 kilos, you've got to put a lot of effort into it. I was fucking persistent, I was dedicated. I did not hold back. I was going, shit, yeah, you've got what it takes, champ. And even though I was still training in that, that's the way that I emotionally dealt with it, was just by eating. So that was one part. The next part is then as a young male, I really struggled to ask for help. So can anybody else relate to that? Men in the room, especially old, my biggest barrier and weakness was just sticking my hand up and asking for help. So at that stage, I was also suffering anxiety, panic attacks, all the rest of it. So has anybody experienced that, like any panic attacks and anxiety? Got to the point where I didn't want to leave the house. At that stage, I had a gym and I was running a business, and I didn't even want to turn up to work, and that had a significant impact on my lifestyle and my money. So I lost a lot of money during that time. At some point, I had to realise that I needed help. And that was my biggest win, was just sticking my hand up and saying, look, I need to get help. I was going to doctors, psychiatrists and all that stuff. And when the doctors were saying to me, mate, I think you're a little bit stressed, a little bit depressed, I said, no, do some more blood tests. There's something physically wrong with me. Because when I heard them say, you're not coping, what did I really hear them saying as a young male? You are weak. So I had to get over that to be able to get through. My first business coach, he recommended me Paul Blackburn, and Paul Blackburn was the guy who trained me up in all of this information about emotional intelligence, stuff I never heard before. And he said to me, I can arrange a meeting, you can go and meet Paul. And I said, yep. Now I'll get you to write this down. Unless you've got enough desire, enough dissatisfaction, or a bit of both, typically you won't do a lot. So there's got to be enough desire or enough dissatisfaction for people to really move. Because in this country, you can get by just doing the average. So for you to excel in anything, you've got to have that ability to have enough desire or enough dissatisfaction. I had both. So I was at the point where I don't recommend getting to that stage. But it got me to act. Enough pain will do that. I recommend build enough desire. Enough desire that it's going to get you out of bed, do the things that other people aren't prepared to do, because you've got that. Who am I going to become out of it? Not just because of gold itself, if that makes sense. So I went and saw Paul, and I started to learn his methods and his training and everything. It just changed my life ultimately. So I was able to go from that to this. So in 6 months. Yeah, thank you. Someone normally whistles about now. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm 51, I'll take whatever. And I do. Lucky my partner didn't come today, because I wouldn't have been. Just seeing if you're listening. So, and then for me, high school, I loved high school, just didn't like the work part of it. My favourite subjects were sport, chasing girls, wasn't good at any of them, but they were the things I excelled in, hanging out with my mates. So what I quickly learnt was all these things were old limiting beliefs. Does that make sense? Old choices, things that I made a decision about myself earlier on in the piece. So it's your identity. How do you identify with yourself? So there was no way that I was going to be able to get to the goals that I set if I didn't break through those old conditionings and old beliefs. Does that make sense? My identity was like, you failed high school, you're never going to have a good job, you're never going to make much money. So my thing is not just can someone get the weight off, can they keep it off? Can they make the money and hang on to it? Can they get a relationship and keep it? Does that make sense? Because what would that tell you? That they have changed belief inside. And your beliefs will then drive your actions. So if you don't believe that you have the ability to be good in this role, there's going to be little chance you're going to do the work. If you don't have an identity that says that I am a competent, calm, dedicated sales person, then it's very unlikely you're going to do the work that's going to be required. So those things are really key. So that's Paul and Mary Blackburn. Forever grateful for the opportunity that I had to meet them, and I'm also very proud that I took the opportunity to be there. So Tash, you were saying that you doing something for you, and this is the first time you've done it. That was my example of that. It was the first time I actually went, yep, I need help, and I'm going to dedicate time, energy, and money to doing that. So I could relate exactly what you were saying, and it changed my life. I went on and I worked with Paul for 10 years. I became a partner in that company. And at the time, it did incredibly well. So that's in Melbourne and Flemington, and run many of these events for a long, long time, 300-400 people, and it was a great experience, very humble. And to be able to pass this information on is what really juices me these days. So a little bit about me. But here's the formula I was talking about. So it boiled down to 4 things. So belief, identity, action, results. So beliefs are what you think is true. But beliefs can change from people to people, right? So your beliefs can be different than mine. The identity is who you see yourself as. So when like I said, I was struggling because I saw myself as someone who wasn't intelligent, failed high school, wasn't going to make it very far. What did that mean? Well, I didn't put the time, energy, and actions that were going to help me improve my life because of the belief and my identity. And the results are what you achieve and sustain. So if we don't marry up these things, you may see people get money but lose it. You may see people get in a relationship and then ruin it. You may see people lose weight and put it back on because they haven't got these 3 things in order. Sorry, were you still getting that down? And I'm happy to make all this stuff available for you as well. All good? Yep. All right, so beliefs, if we just break that down so you get a better understanding of it, beliefs are what you think is true, right? So an example in this role could be, I believe I can close sales if I follow the process. Beliefs, they fuel your confidence in your actions, as I was talking about, but beliefs alone can get shaken. So under pressure, under stress, all the rest of it, your belief you can alter. So it should be a string of rejections or a bad month. That means your belief can then be dented. Where your identity is who you see yourself as, external to the results. So no matter what the results say, you had a good week, bad week, it doesn't shift your identity. So it's a deeper self connection that drives behaviour automatically. So something you don't have to consciously think about anymore because you've done the work. So an example is I'm a professional closer. I'm someone who thrives under pressure. And if you're going to be in this role, that's probably a good one to have. You can have your own version, but I'd say that that's something that I like. I like pressure. I like thriving on it enough to get me motivated, get me going. Does that make sense? And when something's a part of your identity, you don't have to try anymore. So again, this is the work that I'd recommend you do so it becomes automatic. As you're starting to form this, do you think you're going to believe it 100%? It might take a little while. What will help back that up? So action, correct. Yep. So action will back that up. So if you say I'm a professional closer, I'm somebody who thrives under pressure, but you're not putting yourself in that position, you're not doing the work required, then it'll still feel false. So that's why you've got to do the work, take the action. Can you see how these all sync in together? That was like a question. Yeah, all right, cool. You will be required to show signs of life form over the next 90 minutes. All right, so an example, belief only. If you just had the belief, I think I can do well in sales. All right. Identity plus belief, I'm a successful salesperson, this is who I am. Next is see how the second one makes it sustainable. So when you have a rough day, like I said, you still show up as that person. So for sales, it could be a belief, I can close 50% of sales. I'm sure that's considered pretty elite, isn't it? If you're converting 50%, yeah. Identity, I'm the kind of salesperson who shows up prepared, calm and confident every single time, and you'd back that up with doing it and following it through. But if you put it together, I'm a confident professional salesperson or closer, whatever word you want to use there, who consistently closes 50% of calls. Does that make sense? Yeah. Why does that make sense? Just someone tell me, what's your interpretation of what I just said?
Teaching your mind to think that way
Yep.
instead of in the negative.
Yep, you're training your mind to give you a predictable outcome for the future. You're taking control of it. Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Staying congruent with what you believe or do.
100%. Alignment, yeah. Congruent and alignment with your beliefs, your goals, your outcomes, your actions and results, and your identity. Yep. Yep.
You're also like building evidence, building proof.
You're definitely building proof, and we all have an inner scoreboard. And accountability, yep. So there's an inner scoreboard where someone goes, I'm going to the gym tomorrow, and they sleep in. So what does that go towards the internal scoreboard? You're full of shit. I am trapped inside of a body of an idiot. He says one thing, does the complete opposite. Make sense? So that's what I agree. You're building evidence. And the more you do those things, the more it's going in that you're a person of your word and you're striving to achieve that goal that you want. Does that make sense? Cool, cool. All right, so changing subjects. If I said that circle represented your mind or your brain, would that be drawn too big for some days? Who would draw it like that for certain days? Who's had days where you wouldn't have given 50 cents for your brain? If I said in that circle represented 200 billion brain cells, does that sound like a lot? Yeah, it's a lot. And if I said if you spent one of those brain cells, they were valued at $1, you did that for every hour, every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Any guesses on how long it would take you to spend all that? You don't need to be guessing? Million years. It's like 3,000 and something years. Now, do any of you feel like your brain's not quite operating at that level? Can anybody tell me the 3 different levels your brain operates on?
Beta, alpha, and...
Delta?
Delta.
Yeah. So they're all the levels you can drop down to in terms of how the brain operates. The first part is conscious, which is what you were talking about before. So conscious part of your brain. Subconscious part of the brain and unconscious part of the brain. So if we look at the 3 areas, if we look at the conscious part, it's fair to say that it uses 10% of that total 200 billion. Now, don't anybody tell you that's not a lot? If you were to win 10% of $200 billion, would you be okay? You'd be okay, wouldn't you? You'd even share some with your family, maybe. But that's a logical part of your brain, so that's the part that you refer to that talks to yourself. So are you aware that you talk to yourself? Yeah, that's normal. Getting answers, that's not normal. Has anybody got more than one voice going on? You better see me on the break. I'll get that sorted for you. But that's the part of the brain I refer to willpower, like someone saying, I want to make more money, I want to lose weight, all that stuff. So, and you'll see why that alone is not effective. And that's why people go, I want to stop smoking. You can see if it's only operating at that level, then it's not enough for making change. If we look at the subconscious and that part of the brain, things in that part of the brain, they rather work or they don't. So like switching a light, it's rather off or it's on. And the areas that's responsible for is things asleep. So you rather sleep or you don't. So have you ever lied in bed of a night time, staring at the ceiling going, well, this worked last night. I'm not sure what to do. I can't get to sleep. Has anybody had that? So it rather works or it doesn't. Creativity, I'm not referring to your artistic ability, but more your problem-solving ability. So your ability to access that part of the brain to solve problems. Look at intuition. There's classic examples of that. So thinking about a friend or a family member you haven't seen or spoke to for some time and you start thinking about them, what can happen? They call, you go speak to the devil. I was just thinking about you. That's crazy. What about meeting someone for the first time and you just get a really good feeling about them? It's like there's this connection, you don't know why, it's like they're an old friend. Have anybody had that? And have you had the opposite? Yes. Hopefully you're not having that one now. So that's intuition. Also there is memory. So probably not to go into great detail about memory, but who's ever had a memory blank? Yeah, and what is it that people forget the most often? What the most common thing people go, oh, I'm terrible with? Names. Terrible with names. So have you ever been introduced to somebody and 30 seconds later have no idea who you're talking to? That's right. That's exactly right. What's your name? And we're all pretty cool with it. We're not out there doing courses on how to remember people's names we'll probably never, ever meet again. We just go, I'm terrible with it. Does that make sense? And if you do meet somebody and you go, look, sorry, forgot your name, they're probably thankful because they forgot yours anyway. Very rarely will they go, listen here, you half-wit. It's been less than a minute since I told you the first time. Piss off, I'm not telling you again. They'll just tell you. However, there are some things that do bother us that we forget. So who's got kids? Yep. So if you don't have kids, you'll be able to relate to this. So for those of you kids or another version of this, have you ever looked at one of your children and called them by a different name? Yeah. So when you're there going, Gary, Peter, Jeff, kid, what is your name? And don't lie to me, because I'll find out. That's final proof of them that you've lost it. Because they're sitting there thinking, if there's anybody in the world who should remember my name, it's probably the person who bloody gave it to me. And they can't remember. So mum and dad have lost it. They've lost it. What about going into a room of your home with the intentions of grabbing something only to get there and you forgot what you went there for? Doesn't fill you full of confidence for the day, does it? So that's memory blank. On the other side, that's photographic memory. So hearing a song on the radio and it can trigger off a memory back in the past. You might be out partying, it might be a school formal or whatever. Has anybody had that? And all those emotions come flooding back. So quite powerful. And if it's an embarrassing situation for you and you hear that song while you're driving, you can be driving down the car 20 years later going red, feel embarrassed, reliving the whole thing. So quite powerful of how it works. So if you can speed your brain up, you can slow it down. Most of us aren't good at slowing it down. We're good at what? Speeding it up. So if I said to you, in order for you to go to sleep of a night time, what do you physically need to do? You need to relax. And getting to bed will help. Yeah. So you need to relax. And you'll have your own different ways to do that. So some of you will read a book, maybe meditate, Scotch and Coke, whatever. That's your own way to do it. The real question is, what's the average approach for people to wake up the next day on time so they're not late? Alarm. And what's the job of the alarm clock? Scare the shit out of you. So to go from being really relaxed to really, really intense. So has anybody been in a dream and it's a really good dream? You've just hooked up with Mr. or Miss Right. Have you ever had that? And the alarm goes off. All you needed was a couple more minutes. No, because you're at a dinner and that. What are you guys thinking? You guys. Who can wake themselves up on time the next day just by saying, I've got to wake up at a certain time? Just show hands. Yeah, so they've done studies on this. About 50% of people say, yep, they can do it. So 200 billion brain cells, and somewhere in amongst all that, there's an alarm clock. Science is looking for it. They can't find it, but people say that they can do it. Now, when I used to travel and go to different states when there's daylight savings kick in, mine could adjust. So I had a 5 o'clock here and a 5 o'clock for Melbourne, wherever I was going. And when I heard that, I went, big deal. But it is a big deal. By instructing your brain to give it a certain specific outcome, it will deliver that and it will do it specifically within the minute. Does that make sense? The only problem is we don't use that for other things in our life that are probably more important. By instructing this part of the brain, the conscious part of your brain, which is logic, to speak to the subconscious brain, it works together and will give you a result. So that's why it's important about how we talk. Does that make sense? Our language, our self-talk. So if I said the average adult spends about 95% of their time in that part of the brain, would that surprise you? No. Why would the average adult spend more time in a tense state than a relaxed state? What are some of the things you've got to do day to day that could cause stress or pressure? Work, kids, bills, the whole bit, right? So there's a lot going on. And what I realised again as an adult, I was good at going this way from being relaxed and tense, but not so great at the other way around. So could you start the day, something happened and get in a shitty mood, and can that impact the rest of your day? Make you less productive? Yeah. It's like you go offline and you go, that was a waste of a day. And if you, depending how long it takes you to reset, you could put you off your game for 3 or 4 days. Now, is that going to help you with your performance at work or in sales? No. So how do you want to go in? You've had a shitty morning, something's happened, partner, so you've had a crash, accident, whatever. Your ability to respond to that, but react and reset and be relaxed is going to be really important. So you don't carry that through into your work. Does that make sense? So, I mean, that's why kids are typically better at all that stuff, right? memory, intuition, all the rest of the stuff, because I don't have all the background stress yet. But like I used to remind my daughter, don't worry, it's coming. So if I look at an example, say I organised a sales meeting for you, and the sales meeting was worth $10 million. Whose heart rate's already gone up already? And the only thing is it's pretty much 90% done. They just want to meet you, right? And their one specific thing is time. They're like, we will never hire anybody who's late or not punctual. So you're on a bus, you're heading out to the direction where the meeting is. The bus gets a flat tyre. The bus driver has no idea about your important meeting at worth $10 million. He's out there, he's whistling, it's a beautiful day. You're ready to kill him because he's taking his time. That all gets sorted, you're back on the bus and you get in the right location and you're walking up and down this street that seems like it goes forever, talking to yourself about why don't they put bloody numbers on the building so I know which way I'm going. As that's all occurring, you look up, you see a face that's familiar but a name that's just escaped you. At that point, as that person's walking towards you, what do you start talking to yourself about? What's their name? And have you ever found that the conversation accelerates in your head? Like, what's their name? You better tell me quick. And as you get that, come on, you're going to go further up in the 10 scale. Does that make sense? So what have you moved further away from? That would be really handy right now. Memory. And it's not that people go got a bad memory, it's just they have trouble accessing that part of the brain because they don't know how to relax when it counts. I found myself, I'll see him coming, I go, oh shit, I think it starts with a P. And then I'm here and I go, it's a Z, I've got no idea. At that stage, you can strategize. You go, if I just cross the street now, they won't see me and I can avoid that embarrassing situation. Before that you can do that, they look up, they see you. It's obviously they're very excited to meet you again. They remember everything about you. You can't remember their name. So out of that situation, you're going to become more and more tense. Now, I don't know what women do. Men call each other mate. Babe, mate. So someone's calling you mate or babe, they've got no idea who they're talking to. If you're married to them, that's probably an issue. Anyway, you'll get past that situation, you go your separate ways, and what can happen anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour or so later. And why is that? Because the pressure's gone off and you're going to drop back down and access that part of the brain. Making sense? So that part, okay, you go, big deal, bit embarrassing, got through that. But there are some other areas that it will have consequences for if you don't learn to relax where there's every reason not to be. First one is job interviews. Think about someone who's going for a job, it's their dream job. I'm assuming you guys are going to be in that position too, where you're going to have to present, do a video to showcase yourself, also speak to the potential employees. You want to make sure that you turn up, relax, so you can best present yourself. Now, I've seen plenty of people at home, they're practicing and they get in the job interview and what can happen? Lock up. And for the most part, how you get received is what's going to probably also mean that the chances of you getting employed or not. Someone who maybe not as skilled as you could get the job based on what? Their ability to be relaxed and present really well. So very important. Sales appointments, of course. Someone saying they can't afford it. Got to ask my partner. All these things can pop up. If you're unable to remain relaxed in that set of situation, what may happen? You could overtalk. What other things happen then if you're under pressure and stress? Not listening, if I'm forceful, go blank. So really important under certain situations that you can be relaxed. Who's a champion at Who Wants to Be a Millionaire when they're sitting at home? I would have got that easy. But you're on TV, millions of people watching you, they're sticking down. Could you start doubting the answer you're about to give? Yep. Public speaking, if I said to any of you, who would like to come up the front here and talk for 10 minutes about themselves? Who's keen? Is anyone keen? Apart from Chris? But would you like to be able to come up and speak without feeling, would that be good? It's about a choice. Choice in how you want to feel, choice in how you want to behave, choice how you want to act. Not just when it's convenient, but when it's most important. So that'd be liberating, right? To be able to go, yeah, I'll come up. Nothing wrong that I feel a bit of fear, but could I be relaxed enough to come up and do that? Because what if I said that you coming up the front could potentially open up doors for you, opportunities for you, could be business for you, but you don't do it because you're fearful of being rejected, judged, all the rest of it. Making sense? Am I ramming home how important it is to be able to relax? Have I sold you on the fact that learning how to relax when there's every reason not to be is a worthwhile thing to do? And then debates, all the rest of it. So have you ever, think about the last argument you're in. Did you become more and more relaxed and more tense? Yeah, unless you're a psychopath, you probably become more and more tense. Have you ever noticed that your best line in the argument comes about half an hour after you've had it? Has anybody sat there and went, fuck, that's what I should have said? Has anybody like rung them up and started up again? I'll give you the benefit of my experience, 'cause I had plenty of goes of that. They're probably, if they're even like 5 minutes ahead of you on being more relaxed, they probably thought of about 20 things they wanted to say to you. You'll have your big one, just leave it. It's not worth it. But you can also see that in sales. Like I've had it myself where I haven't set myself up properly for the meeting. You know, I've come in rushed, all that, not prepared. And I could feel it during the course of the conversation and learning this skill where I could actually identify that and go, right, slow down, relax. I'm doing this because there's a finger and thumb technique where you do the training. That's the trigger to training your body to relax. And it's been great because otherwise I could see it was going to go down not a favourable path if I didn't learn how to relax when it counts, right? You'll all experience it because you've got to learn that way anyway, that you'll get off. And I still now go, man, I could see where I could have improved and done that better because I wasn't set right. Does that make sense? I wasn't in the right state. So learning how to relax when there's every reason not to be, state control. So first step to mastery, in my opinion. So if you can learn to be relaxed, it just opens up more opportunities for you. You can train yourself to do it and do it on demand, which I like. Not be pushed around by your emotions. And it's a skill that you will use before every call. And that's my wish for you. So, who is ready? Yes. All right, so the training goes for about 18 minutes. So in a second, in a moment, I'll get you to be relaxed. You'll spread out a little bit if you want, but you'll be seated. We need to get you physically relaxed first. Then we need to get you mentally relaxed. So have you ever tried to go, to sleep when you're stressed? It's not going to work, right? So we need to get you mentally relaxed. So it'll ask you to use a word or a phrase over and over again to give your mind a single focus activity to get you down in the subconscious. Because when you do that, repeat like, I am calm, would you say it in yourself? Don't say it out loud because it will be a shit show. Have all these affirmations being spread out. Whatever it is, it just allows your brain to focus on that and drop down to the next level, subconscious. Then we're going to make sure your emotions are calm and still as well. So have you ever tried to go to sleep while you're laughing? Have you ever tried to go to sleep while you're crying? No, it don't work. So we've got to get you relaxed. At that part of the training, you'll be so deep down in the subconscious. What we're going to do is open that part of the brain up and we're going to put in there really positive, affirming affirmations for you. Which is going to happen because it's just going to bypass your conscious thinking. Then we're going to have some fun with it. So I always say be childlike with this stuff. Who's done some form of processes before, be it meditation or whatever? So you might have your own way and that's fine. This might be the thing that also works for you. So the difference between this and meditation is that this is really training you for a specific outcome. The training's specific to get you relaxed. And that's the purpose of it. So it can be used in sales, sport, driving the car, public speaking, whatever. But at that stage, we're going to have a bit of fun. So it'll ask you to, I've got to drop this down. It'll ask you to put your hands together like that. But it'll be in your lap, just so everyone can see it. So you'll do that. Then it's going to ask you in your mind's eye, just to turn your hands from flesh and blood into steel. It can be silver steel, blue steel, doesn't matter. Then you're going to get out a welder and you're going to weld your hand shut in a ball of steel. Then it's going to ask you to slowly start to move your elbows away from your side until you're pulling with everything that you have, but that's what you choose to do. Does that make sense? And then you're going to slowly come back in and then relax. then I'll ask you to reverse that process. So your fingers will go back from still to flesh and blood. You release them like that, and then relax. At that stage, that's when you're at the right stage of relaxation to train for the trigger. And the trigger is using your left or right hand, either one. Put your thumb and finger together, and that's going to then lock in the trigger for when you're out there, here. Guess what? Guess when you'll be able to use this principle today? When you're doing sparring. So perfect timing to put this into play. So do the training, the more you can use it, the better. The more it'll train into yourself to get back to that state. I think that's everything, and then we're going to ask you to come back out of the process. All right. So just get yourself relaxed. Just start to focus on your breathing. A couple of things, if you need to open your eyes up because you think I'm out here doing silly shit, just do that and then close them again. If there's loud noises and all that stuff, just allow it to pass. It's all good.
Close your eyes and remind yourself that you don't need to jam your eyes shut. Just let them close over lightly and relax. And focus on breathing. As you do that, relax. Extend your breath and make it longer or deeper or smoother. And as you do, relax and let go. Mentally, check that you're using your diaphragm muscle rather than your chest and shoulders. See if you can get some kind of focus on feeling that muscle working. Also, check whether you're breathing where possible in through your nose and out through your mouth. And continue to relax. Now take 3 really deep, long, slow, out loud breaths. And as you do, sigh audibly as you let them go, like this. Hold it. Once you've got the 3 organised, let your breath go. But as you let it go, speak to it as if it were a person and tell it that you trust it to maintain an adequate oxygen supply and let it go. Change focus now onto your body. So start with your scalp. And firstly become aware of your scalp, either by running your fingers through it or pressing your hands onto it, or just mentally becoming aware of it. And then loosen it or let it go. And as you let it go, be aware that it'll relax itself much more than you can if you just change your focus now to your forehead. So become aware of your forehead. Focus right in the middle of your forehead where your third eye would be. Perhaps move your fingers across your forehead, press your temples together, whatever. And then let it go. Perhaps even make your eyebrows become heavy. As you let your forehead go, begin to focus on your cheeks. Become aware of both of your cheeks. See if you can make them get heavy on your face and begin to sag more or less on the structure of your face. Go loose and relaxed. Let your cheeks go. Focus on your jaw. So clench your teeth together and then let them go and feel the muscles in your jaw relax all the way back up to your ears. You might even want to open your jaw a little. Move it sideways. And as you let all of the region of your head let go and relax, move to your neck by rotating your head in whatever way allows you to feel lots of muscles loose, soft and supple. Remember, any kind of movement is okay as long as it produces a pleasurable sensation. It's fine, just don't stretch. When you're ready, let your head come back to a comfortable resting position and begin to move your shoulders in whatever way allows you to feel lots of chest muscles in that region letting go and loosening. Check that the movement is pleasurable rather than stretching. And you might even put a twist onto your shoulders so that this gentle moving sensation moves down into the lower part of your chest region and stomach. Now go inside the chest by becoming aware of where your heart is. To get a sense of whether it's on the left or the right or in the middle, let's get a feeling for where you think your heart might be. And bring to mind someone that you love. And let that warm feeling spread right through the chest region. Feel it go in all sorts of different directions. And you feel things letting go inside of you as this warmth moves through you. And let the feeling move down into your stomach and gradually all the way to your digestive tract, loosening everything as it touches. And let it progress all the way into your pelvis. Just wiggle your pelvis. Feel it loose but connected and solid down there. And then allow this wave of relaxation that's been moving down your body to go into the lower part of your body by relaxing your upper legs. So just cause the thigh muscles to flop around. Let them go like jelly. As you do that, let that feeling progress through your knees and into your lower legs. You can just let them go. Let this feeling move through your ankles and into your feet and toes. Perhaps you can rotate your feet or wiggle your toes, keep them loose. And then move back up to your shoulders and get a sense of exactly whereabouts inside all of those muscles up there the actual shoulder joints themselves are. When you're ready, cause a wave of relaxation to move down your arms towards your elbows. You might feel your lower arms get heavy in response to that. Let the feeling go through your elbows and into your lower arms, and through your wrists and into your hands, which you might want to clench like a fist and let go. And finally your fingers. Just flick any last little bits of tension off the ends of your fingers like flicking water. And having done that, talk to your body as if it were a person and tell it to maintain or deepen this level of relaxation while you go on to other things. Let your body go. And as you do that, bring to mind a word or a phrase that you're happy to repeat over and over. And just run this mantra for the next minute or two, and I'll stop talking so that you can do that. That's good. Now let go of this word or phrase and put yourself in a really beautiful place and surround yourself with the beauties of nature. So, Take a look around. Whereabouts is the sun? Can you feel it on your face or your body somewhere? What temperature is it? And how do you know? What's immediately in front of you? As you look straight ahead, what do you see? Let your head swivel to the left and decide what's the dominant feature over there on your left. And when you look to your right, what's the main colour that you see? There might be several, but what's the main colour? As you look around, does this place remind you of spring, summer, autumn or winter? And how does it do that? Is it the smells or is it the look of the place? What is it? As we mentioned smells, what particular smells are you aware of? And how do they reach your nose? For example, is there a breeze carrying a small particle or peculiar thing to this place? Or are you aware of the smell by other means because it drifts up to you from down near your feet? And could you describe it? What would you say to somebody else about this smell? Is this smell unique to this place or not? Let your attention drift to the sounds. What can you hear? And are you able to identify the source of those sounds? Are there any tastes that are relevant? Does this place remind you of a taste in your mouth? What about the air quality? Take a deep breath. Does the air in this place remind you of the kind of salty air that you'll find near the sea? Is it thin like up in the mountains? Is it dry like out in the country? And as you run your fingertips across this place and get a sense of its texture, are you reminded of smooth or rough or hard or soft or cold or warm? What's the sensation you get from it? And while you get a feeling for this place, I'm going to take a moment to talk about the real you, the deep down you. So just relax and sit back while I talk about the truth about you. I'm experiencing radiantly good health. In fact, I'm in peak physical fitness for my age. Every organ operates efficiently and effectively, and I just radiate good health, vitality and vibrance. I'm extremely happy. In fact, my journey through life is one great, big, long, joy-filled adventure, and I'm followed through life by a smile that's waiting for the slightest opportunity to jump onto my face. And on the rare occasions when there isn't a smile on my face, there's at least the evidence of one having been there recently. There's an enormous amount of love in my life, and I experience it as a wellspring that bubbles up inside of me and knows no bounds. And I'm finding myself more and more able to express this love to the people that I care about. And to the extent that I do that, it comes back to me reflected and multiplied. So I don't just have a sense of being in love with people and things around me. I'm also aware that I'm loved and cared for myself. I'm highly successful in all the things that I do. In fact, it's true to say that as soon as I take on a goal or a task or a project, it seems to get an energy all of its own and work its way through to its own successful conclusion simply because I'm involved. But somehow I seem to know what to do, where to go, what to say, who to get involved with and team up with, who I can draw support from and who I can help, so that success and I end up being partners and friends because we spend so much time together, because I seem to just naturally work my way through to successful conclusions in all of the things that I do. So now put your hands together and interlock your fingers. They'll perhaps be in your lap. And in your mind's eye, look down at your hands and fingers and decide to turn them into steel by having the colour of the flesh fade away so that your hands look like a black and white pencil drawing of your hands and fingers. When you're ready, add the colour of steel. That might be old rusty steel or new shiny steel. It might be blue or grey or whatever. Might even be painted. And then get out a welder and run the welder along between your fingers, joining them together by whirling your hands into one solid mass of steel. When you're ready, move your elbows out and away from your body to a position where there's more or less a straight line between them, including your hands. Gradually, begin to apply some outward force to your hands in an attempt to pull them apart from each other. And as you do so, you can add more and more force until you're pulling with absolutely everything that you have, if that's what you want to do. And then begin to decrease this outward force back down to zero. Take your time. But when there's no longer any attempt to pull your hands apart, let your elbows come back in close to your body in a more natural position. Then turn your hands from steel to flesh and blood simply by making the decision that you want them to be that way. And follow this by loosening and relaxing your fingers, gradually stretching them into a straight line. And you'll notice that your hands will easily come apart from one another with the gentlest of forces. You may want to wiggle your fingers in order to restore the normal feeling in them. Now put the finger and thumb of either hand together to form a circle. Doesn't matter which hand, and you can change at any time. Each time I place my finger and thumb together in this manner, it causes my body to relax to this level or deeper in 30 seconds or less. At the same time, my emotions become calm, still, and relaxed. Also, during this same 30-second period, my mental processes become crystal clear, giving me vision, insight and understanding into the circumstances in which I find myself. In other words, I think clearly and I think well. In short, the placing together of my finger and thumb causes me to relax physically, mentally and emotionally to this level or deeper in 30 seconds or less. And I can use this concept at any time in the future that I want to, as long as it's for the betterment of humanity in general. So typically I might use it for rehearsals, presentations, arguments, interviews, performances, or just when I'm wanting to drive the car more effectively. However, whatever I use the finger and thumb technique for, I know that all I have to do is put my finger and thumb together, and within 30 seconds I'll become the best possible version of me that there is. And all of this I know to be true. So let your finger and thumb go now, and remind yourself that each time you go into your subconscious in this way and meditate in this style or this manner, that there are benefits which are physical, mental and emotional. And consequently, when you return to the outer conscious level in a few moments, you'll feel revitalised, refreshed and in tune with life and ready to go. So let all the colour fade out of your peaceful scene, and gradually have it turn into a black and white version of the same place. Then let all the details go fuzzy and gradually fade away so that you're looking at the backs of your eyelids. Draw your consciousness back into the room by thinking about whereabouts you are in the room in relationship to the door. Is that door on your left or your right or wherever? Deliberately wiggle your fingers and toes Let your eyes pop open whenever the time feels right to do that.
Welcome back. Take a few deep breaths. How'd you go? What'd you experience or what'd you notice? Yep.
Pretty much asleep.
Very calm.
Yep.
Reset.
So that audio, I'll make that available for all of you so you can have that and then practice. So only works if you use it though. So I'm going to give it to you for nothing, but you just promise me you're going to use it. Who's promised they're going to use it? Yeah. All right. But good. Hey? And if I ever come across you in the future, I will test you with it. Like a human lie detector. Because I'll put my finger on your pulse and I'll see if you're telling the truth or not. Just out of curiosity though, like who feels like they could now come up here if they had a chance to do that using that method? Yeah? It's available. These is opportunities to lock it in. Remember we talked about the training, the belief, and then the action. The action will lock it in. So who would like to come up the front here and take this opportunity? Yes, sir. Come on. Yeah. So all I want you to do is just share your experience. What was that like?
Oh well, I was catching myself almost falling asleep sometimes. I had to like involuntary tweaks because I think I was falling, but I was so relaxed and I was picturing that calm place very vividly.
Nice.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was
And how do you feel now? How do you feel at this
Like-
moment, like speaking to everybody and out front?
like normal. Like I don't feel any self-consciousness or
Yeah.
Like-
And before doing it though, would you have felt more self-conscious, you think?
yes. I had to sort of convince myself. I remember that it's only the ones who volunteer, the ones who learn the best. But I didn't have that much resistance to come as I would have normally.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations. So there's the training and then there's the opportunity to use it, right? So that was an opportunity to use it and you'll have plenty more opportunities to use it as well. There's some other processes that I use, one called a blockage buster, which is also good, which I'll get that to Chris and Shani as well. But I hope you found that of value. It will be, yeah, perfect for that, definitely. So once you learn how to relax and do that part, then it opens up other possibilities for you. So then we want to look at, okay, well, how do we access the subconscious more effectively? So that's training you to get down to that part of the brain. But when we know how to do that, then we look at things called programs or habits. So these are things that automatically happen in that part of the brain, which I'll talk about. And before I get into that though, there's people that need to learn to be relaxed when there's ever reason not to be because of their role or their job. So what do paramedics need to be? Under situations that probably most of us would freak out, right? But they've done this type of training where in that moment they can be relaxed and be sequential to save someone's life. Now that's training. You wouldn't want to be in need of their help and they turn up and go, oh, gross, you're on your own. Not going to be. And I've worked with paramedics. I've done this training with a lot of paramedics, fire, police, the whole bit. Hostage negotiators, a lot. Because at the end of the day, their ability to succeed in that role bases on their emotional intelligence and their ability to regulate that. No different when you're going to be in sales, right? More consequences if you're a hostage negotiator and you fuck it up though. It's a little bit more consequences of that. But they learn to do that. They've got to do that training. And the paramedics, some may be sick afterwards, but in that moment, they're relaxed enough to do what they need to do to save someone's life. You think about pilots, right? They put them in simulators and all that stuff because they want to see how they go under pressure. Now, you wouldn't want to be on a plane and have the two pilots running down the back screaming, we're all going to die. But all it was just some warning light going off. So, crazy. Now, another example is in sport, of course, but if I was to drill a hole in the ground out the front of you and give you 1,000 golf balls and a putter, and from that far away, say, start punting them in, that'd be pretty easy, right? I go away, I say, look, just take care of that, I'll come back later. I come back and I go, how you going? You go, yep, excellent. You go, it was boring, if anything. It was really, really easy. I go, okay. I said, I noticed you got one ball left. I said, if you can knock that last one in, I'll give you $5 million. Who's going to feel a bit of pressure at that stage? What could potentially happen? Who would actually bend the club? You'd be that stressed. So what you did 999 times without any pressure, all of a sudden, you could miss the one that counts. So that's where that training comes into play. The only time it counted was that last one. Same distance, same thing, all of a sudden, the pressure's been added, but where did the pressure get added from? From me or from you? From yourself, and then the ability just to relax and do what you did 999 times is going to be the time it counts. So very important. So I talked about programs and they're everything that give you a result automatically, right? So you're going to have your own natural way to do sales now. So if you haven't had much training, I see it all the time. We work with, like Chris said, fitness professionals, and people just wing it. They're just winging the sales based on their identity, their personality, all that stuff, right? So I'm just a natural talker. When someone says to me they're a natural salesperson, I go, you just fucking like talking a lot. You haven't learnt the skills. So it's very important that we look at how do we automatically do these things. So these things are probably designed before the age of 10. So there is something you don't have to consciously think about. So an example of that is walking. So at the age of 51, I'm pretty proud to say I've got walking down pat. So I can walk from one side of the room to the other and without tripping over and have a conversation at the same time. Now, if you did come across somebody and you saw them going left, right, don't interrupt them. They're busy. They haven't got it down pat yet. Driving, whose car knows the way home? You're like, from work to home, yeah, oh shit, I'm here. It's not really that, but you've done it that many times that you no longer have to consciously think about it. What are you thinking about on the way home? Dinner, everything else, right? So has anybody been in the one location for a long time, moved and then driven the wrong way? Has anybody had that? Like, I've done it. Like, same place, 10 years, I'm up in the stressed part of the brain and I start driving and I go, fuck, I'm going to the old house, not the new house. Has anybody had that happen? Yeah, pretty common. That sums it up. Brushing your teeth, you have your own way to do it, all that stuff. You know, have you ever had an injury and you're right-handed and you've got to teach yourself again with the left? Has anybody had that? Classic example of it, right? So it's just that way you've done it so many times naturally. And with sales. So again, we can look at how you do sales at the moment. So do you want to see one of these in action?
Yeah.
Well, fucking three of us, is that it?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Thanks for the crowd participation on that one. This is my self-esteem you're mucking around with. All right, so just fold your arms, how you would naturally. Yeah, it's about as complex as I get. Put them back down your lap, and now fold them the other way. So what happened the first time? Natural. Automatic, right? Second time, what happened?
Think about it.
Did any of you like talk to them? Like, go on, do it. I've had somebody go, oh no, it's easy. But I mean, like, if you could do it that way, no, it's not going to change your life, but it's a good illustration to show you that if the way you currently are doing sales is like that and it's not working for you, then you're going to have to change and adapt. And is it going to feel awkward? Is it going to feel stumbly, all that stuff? Until you master it. The risk is though when people are starting out learning a new way, it does evoke some kind of, there's no immediate result. So are you going to be great at sales in one day? In 1 week? Are you going to get better in 1 week? Yeah, if you put the work in. Are you going to be a master salesperson in 2 weeks? 4 weeks? Can you see why people don't make it? because there's this discomfort and I'm not getting anywhere with it, and it's more the emotional, intelligent part that gets in their way. So understanding the process of change, if you understand that, there's not going to be any release, you're not going to be this master salesperson in a week. But if you say stuff, I'm on the way, every day I'm doing it, I'm getting better and better. Then in 3 weeks you're going to be better, in 4 weeks you're going to be better. A lot of people throw in the towel too soon because they don't feel like they're getting there. But if you understand that process, then you'll also be in a part where you're not doing how you did it naturally before, and you're not really there yet. But even that can cause some, like, am I ever going to get this? Does that make sense? Persist, stick in there, because you're 3 feet from the goal, and most people stop right before it. Yeah.
Can I share an example for that?
Yeah, please.
For myself, like every time I start a new job for the first 3 months, I hate it because I literally like am starting something new. I hate that discomfort of not knowing everything.
Yeah.
So I know that within myself. So I'm like, I have to make it to that 3 months and then decide whether it's for me or not.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that for the first 3 months, I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm so stupid. This is never gonna work. What have I done? And then I get to that 3 months. I'm like, oh, okay, we've got this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very unconscious thing until you decide to make it conscious.
That's right, yeah. Just understand you're supposed to experience that resistance, that discomfort, all that's all really natural part of it. So that, I'd say, is a really good positive thing. If you go, okay, I know that I'm almost there, at some point it's got to be automatic, right? Like the walking, like everything, at some point it's going to feel from very conscious orientated, I'm still thinking about it. These fucking solution questions, situation questions, these like connection questions, eventually it's just going to be automatic, where there's no longer, you're not consciously thinking about it. It'll just be the way you do it naturally. So, yeah.
Just wanted to mention something as well. I've been training myself to brush my teeth with the other hand
Good.
for about 8 months now.
Yep.
So it's starting to become more natural. Another mentor of mine said he did it with a knife and fork. He was left-handed, so he switched hands. They've been doing it for about 40 years. And then once he switched back to what was natural to him, it was instantly there.
Yep.
So it's the same with brushing my teeth. It's not like you don't ever lose it. So would you ever speak into that if you're trying to change behaviour? So you're not, that behaviour that you say wasn't getting you somewhere, it's always going to be there.
Yeah, it's where you want to overshadow the old way of doing it. So that's that inner scoreboard. Like, so the more you practice doing one, the more it's going to become natural to you. So it's just more effort, more consistency, more doing will change it, especially if it's not a productive one, right?
To being aware of that is also that you can fall back to it.
Yeah, that's right, and that's what happens. So yeah, once you start breaking those things, like for me, what you're going to say is you don't get good at something and then stop.
Yeah.
So I've been doing sales myself for the last 30 years, and I still do it every single day, every single week, because I don't want to go back and default to bad habits, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to consistently keep reinforcing it, yeah. And another example of that, it'll be mirrored for you guys, but right thumb out, little left pinky out. And then you're going to just change. So I want you to see how you feel as you do this. So just see how see what you experience. You can see what I do on the weekends. So how does it feel? Awkward. Did it just feel like everything I just explained about change and doing something in a different way? Who feels like you do it and you go, shit, that would take forever to learn, that would take a while? Show of hands, who thinks that would take? I guarantee you in 10 minutes you would have it. But this is what I learned about myself, back to your point, is that I noticed the way you play games is the way you do life. And when someone showed me that, I went home and fucking easy. Especially back then, my personality, no, that easy. Within 2 minutes, that's dumb anyway. Because I couldn't get it in the time frame that I thought I should. Does that make sense? So I went, that's dumb anyway. What am I doing? Playing with my fingers. And that was my way to justify it. And then I looked at, where have I done that in my life? And I realised very similar. Like, I'd start this business, I'd hit a ceiling, it'd get a bit challenging. I'd go, no, not group training, it must be semi-private. So I had this brief moment of ecstasy, a brief moment of excitement. This is what people fall in the trap of. This brief moment of excitement of doing something new gets a bit challenging, they quit. So that's why you got to persevere through that, because I noticed, okay, I would do it as soon as I got my first bit of resistance. Then your brain, there's a part of your brain that wants to protect you, so it comes up with a bunch of bullshit stories, you know, like, oh, you don't want to do that, there's no good, that, all that stuff. And that's what was happening to me. And so I looked like I was successful doing things, but I never really broke through to the next level because I kept starting over and over and over again. So if you're doing something like this, it's the exciting part, but now it's the work you put in after that's going to be very important. And the training that you're going to get from, you know, the whole team here is going to help you immensely. And the part that I'm talking to today, that's the part that I also hope that you can embrace and go, now I understand what's going to happen from a psychological point of view. I just keep persisting through that so I can get to where I want to be. If that makes sense. Yeah. So just a good illustration of that. That's how it's going. That's why I show it, because that's what you're going to experience. You know, you do it, and after a minute, you go, oh yeah, I'm still thinking about it, still a bit clumsy, like 5 minutes. To your point, I don't really practice it. Like, I've got a life, right? I don't really sit there practicing that. I mastered it, I got good at it, but I can just go back to it now anytime I like, because it's there. Yeah. All right, he's a boring son of a bitch, this guy. All right, so with the reprogramming, you know, we look about sales, communication. So again, if you wanted to become a better communicator, I had a natural skill at regularly offending people without even trying. Many years ago, I just blurt shit out. And has anybody got that? Like, there's the two parts. You go like, just shut the fuck up, mate, you know? And my mentor was a master communicator, so I'm a big fan of modelling of who does something really well, what makes them good at that, and modelling it. So you probably heard that terminology. So for me to be able to now adapt, because I think if you only got one way to do something, you're putting yourself in a prison, right? So I need to be able to adapt to someone who I need to be more patient with, more compassionate with, more understanding with, that type of personality. In sales, it's important, right? And I'm not going to do the same way with someone who's very direct and needs you to get to the point. So the ability to be able to adapt and talk and communicate different is going to be a really important skill in sales and life in general. Now, with money, again, if you realise that you've got these habits, these situations that keep coming with money, you can reprogram yourself in that way. Basically, any area of your life that's not working for you, you can reprogram based on what we've been talking today.
Question. Yep. Reprogram your mum?
No. No, don't even try. Try. What you can do, though, is if you're different, she could be different. So that's the way I would do it. I would say that you'd be at a dance with people you're closest with, and someone has to break that dance and change to give them an opportunity to be different as well. It's still going to be that, though. You'd have to hang in there. I'm going to test your awareness. I've been talking for a fair bit, been doing stuff. This video is going to ask you what to do. There's two teams, a team in black and a team in white. You've got to count the amount of times the team in white pass the ball to each other. So it's just about refocusing in and making sure of your awareness. Don't yell the number out. Let's just in your head have it, and then at the end we'll see if you get it right or not.
This is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make?
Go!
The answer is 13. But did you see the moonwalking bear?
It's easy to miss something you're not looking for. So a lot of people can't, like their ego, a lot of people go, bullshit, replay that, I didn't miss it. And I have to replay it and I go, it was definitely there. Why do you think most people miss it? You were told a specific activity to focus on, and that meant that you didn't see anything else because of that. However, Because that's that part of the brain that says, I want to stop smoking or lose weight, right? So that's what it did, and it gave you the result. However, though, in saying that, if you can miss a moonwalking bear right in front of your own eyes, what other opportunities and things aren't you seeing because you're not programmed that way? You're not instructing yourself for the right outcomes that you want. Does that make sense? So you'll miss opportunities if you're not directing your mind in terms of what you're actually looking for. So that part's very clear in the way we direct and work the two brains together. So again, the conscious instruct, and that's why I talk about the language is very important that we use, because the subconscious is always listening. So an example is if someone's saying, I can't afford it. Or maybe in a sales role, you might be thinking, people don't have the money right now. What's going to happen is you're going to see more evidence of that and you're going to manufacture it. Does that make sense? So when someone says, I can't afford it, what are they going to see more evidence of? Well, they can't afford it. They're going to look at their bank balance. They're going to look at this. They're going to look at that. And it's going to reinforce their already belief. Does that make sense? Beliefs are what you think is true, but they're just old programmings. It's not really the truth at all. So I'm not good at closing. So if someone had that, you don't even need to verbalize that. You might just internally think that. What's going to happen? You're going to have more evidence of that. Also, back to that initial thing that I talked about, your beliefs, your identity, your actions and results. If you've got an internal belief that you're not good at that, how much effort and energy are you going to put into the work that needs to be done to get better at it? You won't. You won't. So how does someone feel when they go, I can't afford it? When someone says, I can't afford it, they go, yes! Beauty, I can't afford it. I feel so great right now. What may they feel instead? Shit. Yeah, not all the emotions, there's shit. There's happiness, sadness, fear, and shit. That's a typical Australian thing. How do you feel? I feel shit. Is that sad, anger, fear? Nah, just shit, man. All right, I feel shit. But that's what gives it the glue, so that's what will lock it in. So really, they're probably feeling hopelessness, helplessness, defeated, all that stuff, right? And then that's what makes the programming, really stick. So that's what we're going to break out of. Also in the subconscious is pictures and feelings. So when you have a thought, it's near impossible not to have a feeling, right? So you think about your mum, you go, that bitch, Not me, my mum, but someone might have that response, right? Or they might go, mum, she's the best, So there's going to be another feeling. So it's near impossible not to. So when we say or think something in our language, then we're going to have an emotional response. And it's the emotion response that locks it in and gives it the power. So what you attract, we focus on. So when someone says to you, don't forget something, let's in this case, don't forget the milk, what typically happens? Because this part of the brain instructs and that part goes, there you go. Delivered. And you're the arsehole. And there's nothing better than when my daughter was 5, because she's learnt all this stuff, there's nothing better than my daughter correcting my mum. So my mum would say to me, Jason, now don't forget, and she'd go, Nana, it's remember. And I could see the steam coming out of my mum's ears, thanks honey, like she's thinking, don't correct me. But does that make sense? You're better off going like, remember. So instruct it in what you want. So remember the milk, remember. So it's very important the way we use our self-talk. Cars, when you like a particular car, there might be a dream car that you like. What do you see everywhere? You see that type of car because there's part of your brain called the RAS, and it really starts to look for it. If I don't like that particular car, I won't see them. And it could be with a dog, a breed, or anything, right? So again, whatever we have in our mind that we want and focus on is the more we'll see opportunities for. And sometimes when we get into this stuff, we can feel like these old patterns are part of our personality, but they're just choices. So it's not really true. They are just old decisions that you made. Remember I said a lot of it's been decided from a very young age. So now's your opportunity to when you think about these things or these come up, say, is that the truth? Is that really the truth for me? And so when someone says they can't afford it, what would be a better way to instruct your mind or your subconscious to change that situation? How can I be heaps better? That would be heaps better. What's another way that you could instruct your mind? Yeah, I'll find a way. I'm open and receptive to the opportunities. Yeah. Yeah, that could be one. Yeah, I really remember I said there's the conscious part of your brain is the logical part, it instructs, and the subconscious and pictures and feelings. So when you say something, it'll translate into pictures and feelings. So my thing is I know there's a solution for it and it's just around the corner. What's the picture of just around the corner? Just there. Does that make sense? So I know there's a solution for this and it's just around the corner.
I say I'll make it happen.
Make it happen. Yeah. So it's good to instruct the mind as it now when, because when someone says, oh, someday, what's the picture of someday? Nowhere. Doesn't lead anywhere. So think about what you're telling your subconscious. Are you instructing it? You know, because I'll go to bed and I'll let go of something. I'll go, when I wake up, I want the answer to X, Y, Z, and then I'll let it go. Typically, I'll be in the shower or whatever, driving, and what will happen? Boom. So I'm asking my brain, I'm getting it to work for me in a positive way to give me the result and go to work for me. Is that making sense? Yep. So really careful about how you set those. I won't get to it today, but I've got a workbook as well that I'm going to get the guys to give you, and it's going to go into my approach for setting goals and targets, and also how to release fear, doubt, wanting control, approval, and it's all related more to sales. So I'm going to get the gang to get that to you so you can go on with this training and look at your programming and your beliefs so you can work through that workbook. Yep.
Can I make an observation that when you talk about the subconscious, it's also important to know that I think it doesn't discern negatives from positives?
100%. Yep.
So we say don't forget, you're actually saying forget.
Yeah, don't think of a pink frog. Too late, you've already thought about it. Yep. 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 So it's very important. What happens is there's 50 to 60% of your total brain capacity in the subconscious part running the show. It's why typically people will be over here saying I want to be over there, but they're getting blocked or they're self-sabotaging. Because consciously, that's why I said the 10% won't do it. So we've got to look at what's going on in the subconscious, because it's logic and effort, right? The subconscious is habits and automatic response, so we're training it as we've been doing. And the beliefs are the filters that determine your actions or your results. So we're going to look at our beliefs. And if an area of your life's not working, that's the place to go. What's my honest belief about being in a relationship? What's my honest belief about making money? What's my honest belief about being good in sales? And not many people stop to actually ask that question because it can be confronting. But once you bring it to the surface, what's it give you an opportunity to do? You go, well, that's not true. That's a belief. That's an old decision that I've had, but I'm no longer willing to believe that. And then what do? You would rephrase it. So write how you'd want to be, how you're training yourself to be. So business, if we look at these beliefs, if you said to somebody, I'm going to get into business, what may you hear out there in terms of feedback? I'm going to start a business, and you go and tell your mum and dad I've never been in business. What may they say? It's risky. Yeah, what else have you heard? It failed. Yeah. So don't get into business with friends or family member. But is that true? It's true if you want it to be. Or get into business with friends and family if they're the right people to get into business with. If they're not right people to get into business, don't get in the business with them. My trainer HQ, I've been with Brad for 20 years, best thing ever. But my early relationships in a gym that I had with a mate, I got in it for the wrong reasons with him, because I got in it, honest truth now, I didn't admit it then, was I thought I needed somebody because I was scared to do it alone. No way at 25 I was go, man, I need you because I'm scared. Would have been the smartest thing I could have done, because that would have then got us to the point of going, okay, but do we share the same values, the same vision, the same mission, all the rest of it? But I honestly got in it because I thought I was too scared to do it my own. Where with Brad, it was totally different. So it's risky, it's hard, it's stressful, no life, all very upbeat, positive things, hey? So if you're going to be in business, you better ask yourself, what is my honest beliefs about being in business? Wealth. What happens to most lottery winners? 86% of lottery winners break within the first 5 years. And when I was working with Paul, we did some work with their team. They had a team of 80 counsellors at that stage. And when people won money, they would send somebody out and say, before we give you the money, you got to sit down and listen to this message. This could be the worst thing that's ever happened to you. Why do they do the message up front? Because everyone thinks they're in the 14%. People think if I win $10 million, I'm sweet. But 86% of them broke within the first 5 years. Because if you were programmed to be wealthy, what would you be? If you were programmed to be broke, what would you be? And then in Australia, there's middle class, and that can be the harder one to break out of because there's nothing actually wrong. So you give someone who's got a belief, a money mindset about 60K, 80K, and you give them 10 mil, they've got two options. They can rather do what? Increase their money IQ, their relationship with money, their beliefs about money, so they actually hang on to it and make more money from it, or they just bring it back down to what they already believe they're at. Does that make sense? Yeah. Happiness. You know somebody's always happy no matter where you meet them, no matter what's going on in their background, personal life, it doesn't impact their level of happiness. Do you know somebody like that? Fucking shit you, doesn't it? No, I'm kidding. Great people, great people. And do you know the opposite? Do you know somebody who's always miserable and they've made the decision today to be miserable next week? Yeah. So you got two people going through the same stuff in their life, having a totally different experience and level of happiness based on what? On their belief. On their belief. So, have you ever heard someone say, I'll be happy when? So what are they telling their subconscious? I have the inability to be happy now. Yep. So, when someone says, I'll be happy when, no you won't, you'll be the same miserable bastard with the house paid off. You'll just find something else to piss and moan about. Does that make sense? So, I'll be happy when the kids leave, could be true. Could be true. Probably not happy, they're just probably going back to getting around in their undies. I don't know. So they're telling their subconscious they can't be ready now, right? Here's the thing that I would encourage you, and if this fits for you, write it down. I'd say happily pursue your goals. So happily pursue them. Don't pursue them to be happy. Don't think some magic's going to happen when you get to this destination. And if you happily pursue your goals, you'll be more likely to ride the wave, the up and down, the challenging times, all that stuff. Find the joy in the challenges. They're there to teach you. So the easy things don't teach you anything. Then my big thing was when I wanted to get 100 grand, I got 100 grand and I went, I'm still the same. I don't feel any different. Where's the fireworks? What's happening? You know what I said? Oh, it must be 200. So yeah, it's right. That's fucking silly as. And so I was chasing this end result thinking that was going to be it. So then 2 grand and 2 grand and nothing else. What I missed was who do you become in the process? So write that down as well. Happily pursue your goals, but it's going to be who you're going to become in the process. It's going to stay with you forever. Because things will come and go, but who you become in the process is going to be there, and that's the value. No point going after something if it's going to be a miserable experience for you or you're going to make it that way. So happily pursue your goals.
What is it when you accomplish your goal and you feel empty?
Yeah, it's a little bit like that, where it's been more on the goal itself than the journey, than the like reflecting back on who you want to. If I said to you, but what did you have to do, mate, to get there? You go, I had to get up at 4 a.m. You know, I said no to going out when everyone else was going out. People miss that.
Yeah, you feel like it's over when you.
Yeah, but people miss that, like the things I had to do to get there. That's the importance. That's the thing that matters, not that you got the goal. Because if it is, you'll feel empty.
It's sort of natural then, as you're like progressing, your goals are going to get bigger. So your goal, if you're looking at the way you're saying, instructing, you never reach a goal because it's something you should be striving for.
Yeah, like
Grow as you go.
I've been doing this stuff for 20 years. I still love it. Like, does it feel like I still love this shit? I fucking love it. And it feels like the first time I've ever done it. And so, because I look for what's next, like what's next for me doing this talk? How can I be better? So it's not about, can I speak in front of 5,000 people? I've done all that stuff, doesn't matter. 5 or 5,000, it's like, how do I show up? Did I give it my best? Was I, delivering the goods? That's the part that I focus on, probably don't need to go into all this health, you get it. All right, we're going to break. Yep. Now, the workbook part, the guys will get it to you, but it'll run through, like I said, my goals and targets. My aim and goal, purpose for you, and my wish is that you go out there and you really make this a real success. I hope what we've done today could play a small part in that. And I mean this sincerely. You've definitely been the best audience I've had today. Thank you very much.